Over the last month, I've been looking to get myself a good deal on a used graphics card. But it seems wherever I look, prices have gone up. And the first two instances of prices going up in the past in relation to graphics cards had to do with cryptocurrency miners and buying up all the gaming graphics cards, hence leaving the gamers without any graphics cards to purchase at reasonable prices. Just a basic supply and demand thing. However, this time around, it's a lot different, and that is, we're coming off the back of a GPU mining craze where I think I was just used to prices being so low on used graphics cards about a year ago that I quite simply have to readjust. And so the prices have naturally slowly creeped up on GTX 1060 6GB and also GTX 1070s. These seem to be the two cream of the crop graphics cards to get if you're flipping used PCs. However, that being said, we are going into a very unusual time here in the tech space, and that is due to some particular thing going around in the world at the moment making people sick. But there's also another factor at play where I live personally in Australia, and that is the Aussie dollar. It has dropped over the last few months against the US dollar, and since the USD is the world's base currency, and that makes the prices, especially for new tech, go up in price. We're talking things like GTX 1660 Supers, Ryzen CPUs, RX 5700s, all those things go up because all these companies like AMD, Intel, and Nvidia do their business and MSRPs in USD first and foremost. And as I've always said in the past, the prices of new products will dictate the prices of used products, and also vice versa. They share a very strong relationship, and examples of this have been prices of used i5s, used i7s, and even used Xeons coming down a lot in price over the last couple of years thanks to Ryzen's competition. But also on that note, during the cryptocurrency mining craze, we saw used GPU prices go up dramatically too. But with all that precursor out of the way here today, I'm going to be looking to go out and pick up some used graphics cards and just see how much the prices have changed versus a couple of months ago, where I've got a few deals on the line here, and it's nighttime, so there's going to be no traffic, and I can quickly and easily get some of these deals. I'm also going to be looking on eBay, seeing what I can snatch up, because yeah, there's a big gravitational pull for me needing some graphics cards. So I just got back now to the Tech Yes studio. It's about 9:30 p.m. at night, and usually I'm not this sleepy, but I am a bit sleepy because I got like a head cold going on. That's, I don't know, it's basically when you're just like feeling pretty dizzy and you don't know why you're feeling dizzy. Anyway, that aside, we've got the goods here on the table, where the first person that I met up with, this was for the GTX 780 Lightning. They threw in some goodies, like they knew who I was, so they're like, do you want some Xeons? And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I could never say no to a Xeon. And so they chucked in these two E5 2440s, and then they had an i5 4590 sitting around, as well as an old i3. The biggest thing though was they gave me like 48 gigabytes of ECC registered DDR3 memory. And I mean, I know my values pretty well. That might, like the RAM alone might be worth more than that GTX 780, so thank you very much for that. That's a really cool donation to the channel. But speaking of the graphics card, it's the Lightning 780. Now this card, and there's something that's really crazy about this whole story here, and we'll get onto that soon. This 780 Lightning, I actually owned this in the past, and this cooler is, I believe, like 1.5 kilograms from memory. It's huge. The card is massive. And back when it first came out, there wasn't many made, and it was ridiculously expensive. And I managed to snag one of these up on eBay for $480 USD, and that was shipped from the US to Japan when I lived in Japan at the time. And here's like the bizarre thing about all this. I sold this card for Gorman Nissan, and that was, I mean, in Australian dollar terms right now, it'd be like over like $670 or something like that. And I'm getting it for $80. So there's the price difference in that amount of time. But I sold this card and then bought this card, which I also picked up tonight. This exact same model. This is the Gigabyte G1 Gaming and it's the GTX 970. So it's just so crazy because I literally like never get these cards. Like this card, it's the first time I've bought one of these on the channel. And then the same night I get the card that I replaced it with in the past here as well in the same hunt. Like that's just really, I don't know. Maybe that's meant to mean something, but I don't know what it's meant to mean. So if you guys have any ideas what this weird coincidence means, then please share in the comment section below. But then we got the last one here. The GTX 750 Ti, just a little pickup, great for some budget builds. You can never say no to a cheap 750 Ti. And it needs a 6-pin, but even some like budget power supplies have like basic 6 pins, or you can use converters, and you're not gonna have any issues with that. 2 of these cards need some serious Tech Yes loving though, this 750 Ti, and this one in particular does need some real good Tech Yes loving. So, I mean, the guy did, I can smell by the smell coming off this, the guy did vape pretty hard, so that's probably why the dust is a bit more worse than it should be. But this GTX 780 is actually in really good condition. But regardless, all 3 of these cards will be getting some good loving when I go to put them in builds. Or if you guys really want to see a video with some of these popular cards, maybe I can do a breakdown of the 1060 versus the 970 versus 780. That'd be pretty cool just to see the value proposition there with those 3 cards. Because, I don't know, like the reason the 780 is probably not so popular these days is because it's getting old and it was high powered, right? Anything with that scenario or that combination is likely to fail sooner than later. So the 970 is still pretty popular because it wasn't a hot running card. It was actually pretty cool, especially the G1 gaming. But I know the GTX 780 did consume quite a lot of power. So this card here, although it's probably this card here is going to be fine because they put in some ridiculously good components on it and it ran really cool. But a lot of 780s, they didn't get the cooling right on them, like not exactly right. So anyway, that aside, I'm going to wake up in the morning and we are going to get some GTX 1060s because the guy is on the Gold Coast and I messaged him tonight. I was like, look, I want to come through, get these 1060s. And he said, come in the morning. He's busy working tonight. So yeah, I'll go pick them up in the morning. And then we'll also check eBay as well. See if we can find any deals because I need to stock up more Gravis cards. This is the season to be in the city of Gravis. A new day brings about new opportunities, and waking up and getting straight into eBay and also Facebook Marketplace and Gumtree, I found a deal on a GTX 960. They want 70, I offered 60 cash pickup. They did say negotiable, so hopefully they get back to me and they say yes. Though I did also go on eBay and run through some of the ads where there was 2 2070s I found still available for 550 Aussie each. So I snapped up both of them. There's also 2 1060s, 6 gigabytes for $225 each with free postage, so I snapped both of them up. And then there was also 2 1070s. Now, the guy who's selling me 2 1070s, he does have like literally no feedback. So I'm taking a gamble there, but I know with eBay and new sellers, they do hold their money in escrow for like 21 days. And since he's local, I do expect to get the cards in the next few days. And so I am getting those 1070s for 280 Aussie a pop, which is pretty good in the current situation on the market. And he did take photos of the actual cards themselves. The easiest way to point out a scammer is if they're using pretty much stock footage of that graphics card rather than taking their own shots. So that's always something to look out for. Though I'm still waiting on the guy locally with the 4 1060s to get back to me. So if we end up snapping that up, we'll have over 13 GPUs in a one-day sprawl here. But in the meantime, you guys pointed out on Twitter and also Instagram that the 750 Ti and also the GTX 970, they're in desperate need of some Tech Yes loving. So we're going to clean up these 3 cards now and just see the before and after quickly. And here we are now back at the studio with 5 more GPUs to add to the stack. They're all in really good condition. Happy with these deals considering I personally have to readjust to the market where I am locally. I'm looking at some of those prices on the US eBay at the moment, and I'm getting a bit jealous. You guys have GTX 1060s, 1070s, RX 580s, Vega 56s even. All that stuff is available even at buy it now prices for pretty good prices. Though I know for a fact in the US, if you go on places like OfferUp and Craigslist, you can even get better deals, like much better deals than those prices are already on eBay. So that's the difference between the US and Australia at the moment where I am personally, where mining deals have completely dried up. There's no more GTX 1070s in mass to be had, as well as 1060s. And since our prices of new GPUs have went up, as I said earlier, the used GPUs prices are going up too. And I've just personally got to readjust to that, even though it sucks. You've got to be able to do that in the used market. So if I want to be able to actually make a gaming PC, I've got to accept that my older pricing structure that I had in my head is now changing a bit, and I've got to quickly adjust to that. Otherwise, I'm not going to have any gaming PCs for sale. So it's going to be an interesting market, interesting times, where I'm going to be reporting for you guys what's going forward, especially with this virus going on through the world at the moment and affecting shipping times. Where I was going to say in this video that AliExpress always has your back, in that you can go on there and get RX 470s, RX 488GB models for really good prices, and you can get them in readily available quantities. But the problem is you're going to be waiting, some places like Australia, a good 60 days. I'm still waiting on some of my orders that I've got 2 months ago. So the shipping times are basically a complete nightmare at the moment, where if you're buying graphics cards and computer parts, you most likely want to be buying them locally at the moment, or unless you know that your country is not having any holdups in customs, like some of the guys in the UK are reporting that some of the products from AliExpress are coming through absolutely fine. Though I know for a fact in Australia there are some pretty big holdups at the moment. Though that being said, let us know in the comments section below what you think about the market at the moment. Some of you guys have asked me to do a video on whether you should buy a PC now or not. And I did get this question asked in a live stream, which I honestly did not have the answer then and there because I did not research it enough. And we've definitely got some differing opinions out there at the moment. And of course, should you panic buy a PC right now? I'll probably make a dedicated video on that very soon here on the channel. Though with that aside, today's video was focused on GPUs and GPU prices and how basically me personally, as a guy who resells PCs, I've got to adjust my structure to accept that sometimes prices go back up, regardless of where you are in the world. And that's just the way things go in life, just that roller coaster of ups and downs. Though we've got the question of the day, which comes from Daniel Isa, and they ask, hello, how did you decide that the RGB works? And they're referring to our Dual Xeon streaming setup that we did. I'll put the link to that video up here, where in that video, we did have a motherboard that it did indeed have no RGB, addressable RGB header connection. And so they're wondering that they have an LGA 1366X58 motherboard from Asus. They can't get the RGB to work. And so how did I get it to work in that video? And the good thing about that was you'll notice that I bought this Gamdius power supply and it said RGB on the box, but it's actually ARGB in that it's got its own RGB controller on that power supply itself, and it's got its own header for the addressable RGB option. So I plugged all the RGB into the power supply, which then powered all the lights. So that's one good workaround with that power supply that it offers for people who are dealing with older PCs without that addressable RGB header, but also people who are dealing with motherboards like A320s and stuff without those headers on board too. So really good design there. That's why I got that power supply. I did forget to mention that in the video, I think, but that's one reason I did get it. So awesome design there. If you guys are digging these videos, be sure to hit that like button for us. And of course, I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. And if you stayed this far and you're enjoying that content and you're not yet subbed, then you know what to do. And I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.